rocky road, promenading greens.
Booch. We playing Booch ball. Booch. We playing Booch ball.
Hello and welcome back to Booch Ball. I wasn't sure which key to hit that one in. That little intro song. I felt high almost, but I felt like I kept it going.
What song was that? Never heard of her.
I think it's like an old folk song, but there's a version of it by this guy Daniel Rawson from the band Grizzly Bear, and I'm seeing Grizzly Bear tomorrow night, so I think that was just in my. And it had green in the title.
Mm-hmm.
So
It's gonna be a green episode.
Gonna be a green episode here on Booch Ball. Welcome back, by the way, to Booch Ball, the only podcast on the internet talking kombucha and college sports. I'm Alex, joined as always by my lovely co-host Freed. How you doing over there, Freed?
Back like we never left. Moderately hungry for Booch. You could say semi-hungry. Ready to ride.
Hell yeah, dude. Let's do it. We've got this is us coming off of a bye week, and if Miami, if it's any indication, I know Miami has had some issues coming off bye weeks as of late
in the
past. So hopefully that doesn't afflict us here today, Freed.
Well, this is our second bye week in 3 weeks. We've only had one game in the past 20-something days, right? It's been a hot minute. So we got to win off of our last bye week against Florida State last weekend. And Louisville comes to town, and it's a Friday night game at the Rock this weekend. You're not going, are you?
No, I'm not going to this one. The next game I'm going to is going to be the Syracuse game for homecoming, which is like second weekend in November.
Last weekend, I saw Syracuse play at SMU. I don't know if I told you I was going to that. But
I know that you're an SMU season ticket holder, despite the fact that it's like 6 hours away from where you live, right?
Yeah, it's like 4 hours from where I live.
Okay.
And I went to that game. I sold my tickets and got some comp seats from an insider at Syracuse. No,
really?
Not gonna name any names.
Is it a coach?
Maybe. And I'm going to go back to SMU in a few weeks when Miami plays there. So I think I'm getting my money's worth. Although parking, I had to pay $40 for parking. Basically, my entire ticket value that I got from selling my tickets went towards a parking pass. And it was actually kind of a ripoff. I thought I was being cheeky by buying this parking pass ahead of time for $40. But when I got to the lot, there was a $30 sign at the lot. So I could have saved $12. But now I know. It was kind of a trial run for the Miami game for me.
When you were flying solo for this?
No, I was with we were staying with some of Kayla's friends, so I went with her husband while the girls hung out with the baby at home. And I have intel on the Syracuse Stadium, Gerald Ford Stadium.
So I guess it's SMU Stadium, yep.
We're a few weeks ahead, so I don't want to really like bust my load here, but that is not a place you want to go to for a hot game. There is no shade. It is entirely metal bleachers. It was quite miserable for an early October afternoon game.
Really? So for a fan standpoint, a fan point.
Yeah, it was cool because it was a small stadium, very different than Hard Rock. The typical environment that I'm used to for a college game. This is way more collegey. It's a small stadium, but.
How many people are there? Like 50K or smaller than that?
I would say it's probably smaller than 50K. I would put it in the 40s, maybe. It's hard to compare because it's all bleachers, so you can really squeeze them in. It's not seat backs.
Okay, so your comp, there was no suite. But I would think like SMU's got some alumni money there.
SMU has some alumni money. They had there's an end zone area. The south side end zone was like an exclusive sort of club level almost that you had to have a wristband to get into. I don't know what happens back there, but that's where the big time people must watch the game because they had shade in there and they probably had free drinks and stuff. But it blocked off the whole end zone, so you had to walk all the way around the stadium. You couldn't cross through that end zone. But the majority of people were in the concourse purchasing beer in the shade the entire game rather than sitting in their seats. And
Interesting, because it was kind of a blowout game, right? Like
it got,
Syracuse
it got lopsided
not
early.
been competitive.
Yeah, Syracuse
Since,
clawed back
the
late,
got hurt.
kind of made it interesting in the fourth quarter, but the first half was not super fun to watch.
Their quarterback just out for the season.
Yeah, the Notre Dame transfer Angeli tore his either ACL or Achilles. I can't remember which.
Got it. That's a bummer.
Yeah,
that's too bad. Well, hopefully that will at least mean that there's a good chance we'll win it when I go down to play Syracuse.
Yeah. So we'll talk more about the SMU Stadium and thoughts and tips for that at a later date. I didn't want to get in there too early, but
yeah, you don't want to blow your load, as you put it earlier.
Yeah.
Well, Freed, it sounds like it's time for us to move things along then into the first segment of Booch Ball. This is, of course, a podcast where we talk college football and kombucha. So it's now time for us to tell you what we're drinking.
What we're drinking.
What's on the menu today, Freed?
We got ourselves a tribute to our first ever episode of Booch Ball 6 years ago. Can you believe that?
That's right.
This used to be called something else. We've been doing this for so long. This used to be, what was it?
Oh God, wait,
I'm
do
stuck
you remember?
too. No, I don't.
I think it's still named that on our board.
Yeah, got to pull up the big board for this.
Let's see. This was one of our worst rated booches of that. Oh, this is perhaps my least favorite booch that we've had on the show. It was originally called the GT's Multi-Green.
Multi-Green. Yes, and now we're Marine Greens. They tried to rebrand to really capture that fan base. I remember.
What do you think of that rebrand so far? Marine Green versus Multi-Green?
Well, the teal's a good color. It's kind of that Marlins teal, Mariners teal.
They did switch that up. It was more of a classic green before, wasn't it?
And speaking of which, that kind of reminds me. We talked about this off air. We were talking necklaces. I mentioned Mariner Green. I was watching baseball last night for probably the first time all season as the playoffs, and the Mariners have so many dudes with big chains and earrings, and not just studs. They have like hoop earrings. There was a dude who had a top ear hoop earring and multi-ear earrings and a bunch of big chains. I was shocked by what baseball has become from a flamboyancy standpoint.
Yeah, there is a lot of. I mean, there's always been a lot of chains, I think. And I'm going to throw caution to the winds with this one, but I think the white boys are becoming more flashy. I think the white guys have taken inspiration from the Dominican and the
that's
Puerto
where
Rican
I was going to go.
and everything.
I see it's the Dominican flair that they're really bringing with these huge chains, popping chains, and the earrings and stuff. I don't hate it. It's just so different than it was 15 years ago.
I've got my own white boy chain going on, Freed. I think it's because I've got a hairy chest.
Yeah, you do.
And there was a certain point where I was kind of like, I think I would actually look good with like a subtle gold chain underneath like a button-down shirt where you can see the chain popping out. We were talking about this pregame. I don't like the chain over the shirt, especially as a white boy.
Flashy.
I think if you're a white guy, unless you're like, what's the name of the guy that's like not Post Malone, but he's
Carson Beck.
Post Malone? Carson Beck is the kind of guy that would like wear a black turtleneck with a chain over.
Are you trying to bring attention to the chest hair or distract from the chest hair?
No, I'm not trying to bring attention to it. I think it just complements.
It's a compliment. It's a compliment. Okay. Before we go down this path too much, I got to show you this while I got it. Look at the clarity in this booch right now.
Well, you haven't inverted yours yet.
That's right. I'm showing the people here the clarity of this booch because my Marine Greens expires on Thursday. So this is a photo finish. I don't think I've ever gotten this close to an expiration date, but I bought a bunch of kombuchas before the season. So check out the clarity here before and after this inversion. Watch the turbidity flow. Here we come.
Turbidity.
This is like an analog for what happens at the bottom of the ocean during an earthquake. Look at this. There it is. Oh my goodness.
Oh, here it comes to
Wow.
our one or two people that will ever watch this video instead of the audio. There it comes. It's a marine green tsunami inside of the Booch bottle.
That's a lot of algae.
That's right. And speaking of algae, the ingredients in this are it's GT's kombucha. Very interesting that they call out a specific lake, Klamath Lake blue-green algae. And there's a little,
let's see
like,
what that is. I'm gonna Google this real quick. Klamath.
And it says there's spirulina, which I remember you liked. I'm not sure what that is. And then chlorella, which I can only imagine is like chlorophyll or like
Chlorella de Vil. Yeah, these are classic blue-green algae. These are the ones you learn about in your class that are like the 6th type. They're not quite bacteria. They're not quite algae. They're somewhere in between, the blue-green stuff. Super healthy. Klamath Lake, large, shallow freshwater lake in the Cascade Mountains of South Central Oregon. Hell yeah.
Interesting, Freed. And let's read the words of enlightenment from this bottle here. The words of enlightenment from Maddie Stepanek, a poet. Unity is strength. When there's teamwork and collaboration, wonderful things can be achieved.
That's the type of pump-up speech I want to be giving the Canes before they go out and play Louisville this Friday, baby. Teamwork, unity, blue-green algae, chlorella de Vil. Let's get after it, playa.
Let's get after it. I could run through a brick wall, or I could open a really hard-to-open cap.
I'm bubbling.
All right. I remember not loving this the first time around. I think I've maybe had one of these since then, but I'm going to choose to go into this and here season 6 with an open mind and an open heart. Just like how your body changes, you shed skin cells over the course of your life. I think that there's a world where maybe my taste buds have matured since then. And what with matcha being all in the news, this is almost like a matcha booch.
Similar taste profile.
Let's take a sip here.
Now, Alex is a noted marine greens hater. I quite like the marine greens. And taste-wise, it's fairly neutral. I remember in our first ever episode, I described it as weedy with a WH, and you thought I said meaty, but I said weedy. It just has that grain-like taste, very earthy. And
that's what I was about to say. So for something that's called marine greens, it really has more of an earthy flavor to it.
Yeah, it tastes kind of like soil, kind of like grass.
Yeah.
Like wheatgrass. And the reason that I feel like you enjoy your Health Aid ginger lemon so much is because you can tell it's good for you. And I have a similar sense about this one. I just like the way it makes me feel.
Yeah.
And when you taste the grass and the earth of this algae, it's the salt of the earth. It can't hurt you. It's here to help.
All right.
And also, of note, 2% juice. I guess that's the kiwi from their mother, their main kombucha.
Yeah, comment kiwi juice, cane sugar. Yep.
Yeah, all GTs always brewed. Instead of adding sugar, they're adding. Well, they do add a little bit of sugar, but they also do kiwi juice to sweeten it and really get that tartness going. And that's probably why sometimes we think the GTs are like kind of popsicle-y sweet, popsicle-y sour. It's that kiwi juice.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I think I don't hate it up top here. I think with
That's
open mind, open heart, it does have something of a unsettling aftertaste with the earthiness of the flavor. So I think the fact that it was our first Booch on the show. I think this Booch is an acquired taste and not an introductory Booch.
No, this is not an introductory Booch. But for you hardcore Boochies or those looking to get into
For
the
you real Booch freaks out there.
if you're trying to get into the hobby of kombucha, but you're like a longtime yogi and you like wheatgrass, this could be a stepping stone.
Interesting. Well, very good, Freed. Well, cheers to you. Cheers to all you Boochies out there drinking and listening along. We've told you what we're drinking, the GT Synergy Marine Greens. It's now time for the next segment of Booch Ball, in which we tell you what we're thinking.
What we're thinking.
All right, Freed, we are into, what is it, week 7 of the college football season?
Week
now?
7, baby. We're
Something like that?
halfway there.
That's right, halfway there. And so far, Miami is doing better than we probably could. They're doing as well as we could have hoped.
Yeah, exceeding expectations. Miami has been phenomenal through the first 3 quarters of pretty much every game this season. The fourth quarter's not so great every time. You kind of have seen Miami let the other teams hang around, a little bit of playing with your food. And
Yep.
I like checking out the advanced statistics and seeing what the sabermetrics type stuff have to say. And obviously, they like Miami as a 5-0 team who's beaten a bunch of ranked teams. Miami's performing well in the stats, pretty much the top 10, range in every metric that you can find. But Miami is not necessarily as high in a lot of these as you would expect based on how dominant they've been for the first 3 quarters. And I kind of believe it's because the fourth quarter stats have brought down a Miami team that's been incredibly dominant and making them look a little bit more like a team that's just skating by. And some of the stats throw out garbage time, but these games haven't quite made it to garbage time. They've all gotten a little bit too interesting in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I would agree. I was watching the Florida State game with the McGuire family. We all got together and we were so dominantly, in control that by the end of the third quarter, the party kind of like ended. We went our separate ways. Like we went to my uncle's house and stayed over with him, and my dad fell asleep on the couch like a couple minutes into the fourth quarter, and then I like white knuckled my way through the rest of the fourth quarter. Like,
Yeah,
can we it never really felt like panic mode. It just felt like, okay, surely we'll be able to put it away now, right? Oops, and now, their ball. Oops, what the hell was that? Like fourth down, like botched screenplay pass, and then Florida State gets the ball back, and then they score, and that's like, holy shit, they're a freak onside recovery away. It was like, it's started to feel the way, like it only felt scary because I have experienced that Georgia Tech meltdown
for sure.
from 2 years ago.
We're conditioned for this.
This was like, there's a world where we like fucked this up.
Yeah,
so
we're conditioned for it. I felt pretty fine the whole time. I was on the verge of anxiety, if that makes sense. I felt comfortable with where we were at in the clock, and I assumed that we would not give up an onside kick. Shout out to Wes Saint, by the way. I think he got the last 2 of them. And that second, they had 3 onside kicks, right? That second one was dicey.
Yeah.
And we were fortunate that Wes got on it. I've been disappointed, and this is, I'm speaking kind of sarcastically here. I've been disappointed in our All-American kick returner, Keelan Marion. Our defense has been so good. He doesn't get the ball. He doesn't get any kick returns because we don't give up any points until the fourth quarter when they start onside kicking. I think he only had 1 real opportunity against Florida State, and it was the first kick of the second half or something like that, and it wasn't even, they probably kicked it out of the back of the end zone. So,
and we've got Malachi Toney on punt returns. Is that right?
Yeah, he's been good there. He's been good.
I mean, he's been good all over the field. I think he's like the clear runaway, breakout rising star. I think Carson obviously had a great game in, great game, like stat wise. I think we're still kind of waiting for Carson to have a game where we're like, Carson back, like does it again, like that kind. We haven't had a. I don't think he's necessarily had like a breakout moment. He's just been
He's been solid.
consistently very good.
Yeah, that's right. Our first few games have been so wet and wild. He
Mm.
hasn't really gotten a chance to just kind of grip and rip. But against Florida State, obviously they loaded up the box and were hell bent to stop the run. And Carson was really good in that game. He had 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. Phenomenal game. But you're right. He hasn't really needed the big time moment because we've just been in control.
Right.
The only time Miami has been behind this season was in the first quarter against Florida State. And that lasted about 3 minutes until we went and scored another touchdown. So
and this could go, it could go a number of ways. Like, I think Miami fans are, and maybe I'm speaking for myself, but I don't think so. I think we are understandably kind of like, we don't quite want to open our hearts up to love because we've been hurt before, kind of thing, where we're like, yeah, 5-0, yeah, we look great, like, and we'll probably beat Louisville. But who are we gonna like? We're gonna like. So it's gonna be the SMU game. Is it gonna be the SMU game? Is it gonna be the Pittsburgh game? Like, luckily, we're actually not playing Virginia or Georgia Tech because those are the 2 teams that we usually lose to, or Virginia or Georgia Tech.
I'm not worried about
Is
Virginia.
it Virginia
even,
Tech?
Even though Virginia, we might play Virginia. Those are probably the 2 teams we're most likely to play in Charlotte, actually.
So my cousin Connor was going through this whole thing with me when we were watching the Florida State game together. He was like, "Do you realize that the ACC like fucked up the schedule? Because there's a world where Virginia and Georgia Tech both win out and get into the ACC.
It could come down to a point differential, so we got to start winning big. But here's the thing: it's an 17. I think it's a 17-team conference, right? It's a 17-team conference, and you have 8 conference games. So it's going to happen. And the side effect of that bigger conference is lopsided schedules. You think Virginia is going to win 8 ACC games if they play the majority of the better teams in the conference? Hell no. But their schedule is like pillow soft.
Yeah.
6 of the worst 9 Power 4 teams, according to SP Plus right now, are in the ACC. So if you're a Virginia and you have 5 or 6 of those teams on your schedule, the best team that they play is.
The thing is, they already lost a game to an ACC team at NC State, but that game, it's beyond me the powers of comprehension of my brain. How losing a team in the ACC, which doesn't count because it wasn't scheduled as an ACC, like, what are we doing there?
Yeah, so teams do this every once in a while. They need another out-of-conference game, and they just holler at somebody in their conference and, throw it on the schedule, a little extra home and home. But, yeah.
We basically, looking at the rest of their schedule, like, we need Manny Diaz to beat Virginia. Like, we need Duke.
We don't need anything.
Assuming Manny Diaz doesn't go to Penn State, which, by the way, let me just squash that rumor. Manny Diaz will not be the next Penn State coach. No matter what they thought of him as a defensive coordinator. I see that and I'm laughing that is even being entertained. Not that like I even think he's a bad coach. He's just more of a Duke coach. He's not a Penn State. You know who should be more talked about is Al Golden as being that Penn State option. And if Penn State is smart, we're speaking, of course, of James Franklin getting booted from Penn State. If they're smart, I mean, from what I saw some stuff online that's saying that Adidas, who now pays for Penn State, it was the one who kind of like forced the administration's hand to get James Franklin out of there. It is pretty insane. Like,
I saw a bunch of stuff saying that was fake news.
That's fake news.
Yeah.
But I do think it's interesting, like, that we are, and maybe like, has this always been the case, or is this a new sign of the times where we have like James Franklin, who brought Penn State to like a play within being the team that like goes to the basically goes to a national championship game, and the next season he's out. Like,
You have to make
well,
your stand at some point, though. He hasn't beaten anybody. He never beats anybody, and he lost to the worst two teams in the conference on consecutive weeks. Their season is over. They're going 6-6 this year. If not now, when? They're going to wait till the end of the year to fire him?
so what about
I like the move.
Mike Norvell then? Would you say that Mike Norvell is on an equally hot seat then?
I think it's a little bit different in terms of the expectations and where they were at. I think the time for FSU to fire Mike Norvell was last season. They chose to keep him. So they're growing with him through this year, a year that it looked like at one point they were probably going to win 9 or 10 games. Now it's looking more like a 7-ish, win team. They're 3-3. Both of these schools, actually, the comparisons is valid. They started 3-0. Both were top 10 teams. Penn State, number 2 in the country. 3 weeks is all it takes. Florida State has plummeted out of the rankings. Penn State from number 2 in the country. 15 days later, you go from college game day to your coach being fired. That is insane. But we can't pretend that this hasn't been years of frustration from Penn State, because you get complacent with where you're at. It's similar to University of Florida firing Dan Mullen after, multiple top 10 type teams, but they feel like they need somebody else to make that jump.
Yeah.
I feel like
it's going to be a gamble with anybody else besides if you can get Curt Cignetti from Indiana, who shout out Curt Cignetti, by the way. I like that guy. I like the cut of his jib.
Dude, hey, Google him. He wins.
He does. He was he came from James Madison. He's a Duke, and a
former Nick Saban assistant.
Nick Saban protege.
He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, he's the one of these guys similar to Mario, I think, in like a angry tough guy kind of thing, but smart. I think he's smart.
He seems like kind of the angry nerd. He's a Mike McDaniel with a little more mass.
Did you see him? Did you see that egregiously awful missed pass interference call that they had in the Oregon-Indiana game where Oregon guy was one of the worst it was one of the worst pass interferences I've ever seen. And so it was like the number one worst non-call pass interference I've ever seen, besides that one NFL game with the Saints where they completely changed the rules of with the Vikings and Saints game where they allowed you to then challenge. But Curt Cignetti is on the sideline. He got a sideline warning for it. They were going to give him a 15-yard penalty, but they decided not to because I think they realized that they actually had blown the call. So they just decided to give him a sideline warning. He's in the sideline going, "He's raping him! He was raping him!" Screaming at the top of his lungs. Which is you just don't hear that very often.
So the crazy thing is they're trying to poach coaches mid-season. I just can't see that. I can't see a dude like Sig leaving. And honestly, that's got to be tough. You don't want to be negotiating that on the side either, because as soon as the locker room catches wind, you start losing the team. That's not what you want. I think most likely the Penn State puts somebody as their interim.
What about Fran Brown from Syracuse? If I'm Fran Brown, I'm looking at my team and I'm like, all right, the season's already over. There's no more locker room to lose. Let's take me. Let's pack up Robert Wright in my little suitcase and let's head over to Happy Valley.
Robert's got to be excited about this. If Al Golden gets that gig, he might be sliding there too. So I don't know. Maybe Robert's checking Zillow right now.
Very true.
But I think, in all honesty, it's going to do what it always does. They're going to put their offensive line coach or whoever as their interim coach for the rest of the season, let the dust settle, and then at the end of the season, they'll make their hire. They're not hiring somebody in the next few weeks. I just don't see that happening.
Well, I guess we'll just see what happens there, Freed.
Yeah. So enough Penn State talk. I feel like we have more Miami chat to do, unless you have something else to
I do have something else for us.
Okay, let's hear it.
Freed, I've got a little game activity for us to play.
Game?
That's right. So we were talking before we hopped on the show, doing a little thing about what we were going to discuss today. He says, "What goes with marine greens? Stuff with money, stuff with warfare." I said, "The sea." And then I said, "Oh, I got it." Want me to tell you, keep it a surprise? You wanted it to be a surprise, Freed? We're doing a green draft.
Okay.
So we will be doing a snake draft, drafting anything that is green.
Is it anything that is green, or does it have to have green in the name? Do we get bonus points for green in the name?
You can get bonus points for it, sure.
All right.
But you don't, not specifically.
Is this a football team? Do we have to put them in a position?
I'm thinking no.
Okay.
Though we could, if you want to.
Yeah, they gotta have positions.
Okay, all right. So that's how we breach the.
That's how we boochize your game.
Okay, so what do we want then? So let's do quarterback, running back, wide receiver, O-line, and then a defensive player. So that's five. That's 5 people right there.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And you have to draft in order, but then you have to assign whatever they are when you draft them.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm taking money, and we're putting him at wide receiver.
Okay, talk to me. Give me a quick blurb as to why.
I think it's that flash. Money's got that chain popping out of his jacket. Money is streaking on the go route, making the one-handed catch, slam dunking it in the end zone, and maybe dropping the ball before he gets to the goal line. But you just gotta let Money do his thing.
Respect. Okay.
Can't live with it. Can't live without it.
Good call. I like that a lot. With my first pick, I will be picking the Army to play defense. So
wow.
I've got the Army in green playing defense for obvious reasons. That's a tenacious defense, well-funded with NIL money. So, not a lot of people coming off the board first, but consider this like a Ruben Bain type edge rusher defense. This is somebody to put up in the trenches.
Okay. Well, to counter that, I will be drafting the rainforest, particularly the Amazon, and that is going to be my offensive line. And good luck to your Army.
Wow, that's a great pick. That's a really good pick, Freed. Damn, I was gonna do something similar. Okay. Let me think about this. Things that are green. I'm gonna do next pick, the Green Monster, Fenway Park, and that will be my offensive line. Green Monster. No. Oh, yes, that's what it is. The Green Monster is going to be my offensive line. So I'm doing.
That's where I would put them as well. Yeah.
Okay, got it. Cool. We're good.
Okay, I'm going to go with the Green Goblin, and that is going to be my quarterback. I feel like that's a bit of a Tommy Castellanos type QB, but I feel like the Green Goblin is quick, and with that little hoverboard thingy, we're going to distribute, and we're going to get the ball to our playmakers, get it to Money, and with the protection of the Amazon rainforest, I trust the Green Goblin. Okay,
very good. A Green Goblin at QB. It's an interesting pick. All right, so I've got the Army first pick defense, the Green Monster as an offensive line. Next up, speaking of superheroes, give me the Hulk at running back.
Ooh, that's a good pick. Mark Fletcher, Jerome Bettis style. Okay, so I need a running back and I need some defense. Can we take a head coach? Can we add a head coach into the mix?
Sure.
All right. Yeah. Give me green apples. An apple a day keeps the doctor away. And when you're going through a long season, you just need a reliable, healthy option to keep you on track. And the green apples, especially if you have some caramel dipping sauce, good choice.
That sounds like more of a defense because you haven't picked a defense, have you?
I haven't picked a defense. You think the apple should be on defense?
Because apple away keeps something away, so it's it keeps the doctor away. You're playing defense against having to go to the doctor.
No, the Apple's my head coach.
Okay. All right, very good. For me, I will be drafting Kermit the Frog, and he will be my quarterback. Kermit the Frog, a real team player, captain,
I like
leader of the Muppet franchise. He's a real franchise guy, good with the media.
Is he a Manning?
And
Is he
say
related
again?
to the Mannings?
Could be. Why do you say that? Just because?
I feel like he's a Manning type QB.
Could be. He's got a lot of he's got
They
a
kind of
great
look like
presence.
Muppets.
Yeah, especially Eli. Yeah. So yeah, give me Kermit the Frog as my QB.
All right, I will be taking the Miami Hurricanes defense as my defense.
It's not
Yeah,
green.
You like that? We're wearing green tops on defense, baby.
Okay. So you're gonna be the Miami Hurricane defense. That's very lame. Don't do that. Do something else.
I already did it. It can't be undone.
All right. With my 5th pick, I will be drafting Grass as my wide receiver. Because Grass just goes on and on and on.
Catches everything.
At the end of the day, Grass is always there, always at the bottom. Is Grass? Well, if you throw the football on a field, guess who's going to catch it at some point? The Grass. Every incompletion becomes a completion. And so I need to pick my. You still need a running back. I'm going to pick a head coach next.
Yeah, you know what? Running behind the Amazon rainforest, I'm going to go with a green Lamborghini at running back.
You're terrible at this.
There's not that many green things.
That's awful. Let's see. Green. What else can we do here for green? Looking around my apartment. Okay, give me. No, that's not good. For my coach, well, you're the one. I had a great thing going, and then you made the coach thing, so now I have to do a coach. My coach is going to be a Christmas tree. Christmas tree is a head coach because a Christmas tree is an evergreen. So that means in cold or in hot weather, the Christmas tree remains the same. It is steadfast. And it is also particularly exciting around the holidays, which is exactly what you want your team
to season. Okay, so let's hear the full roster.
All right, so Freed, with your first pick, you chose Money at wide receiver. Second pick, you had the Amazon rainforest at offensive line, the Green Goblin at quarterback, Green Apples as your head coach. And then you just picked the Miami Hurricanes defense, but when they're wearing their green jerseys.
That's right.
And then you have a green Lamborghini as a running back.
This should have been a 3-round draft, Alex.
You just took things that aren't necessarily
normal things
green
that made them green.
You're like, I'm gonna have Mario Cristobal, but if he was green as my head coach.
You took 2 vegetables. You took a tree and a grass. So
that's neither. You could argue neither of those are vegetables. You could successfully argue that. Probably.
Is anything really a vegetable? Tomato.
Alex chose the Army first pick for defense.
Also, arguably not green.
The Army wears green. That's what they do. Okay. You see those little green Army guys? That's what they are. The Army is green. They wear green. The fact that West Point's doing their own thing. Those are the officers. That's the officers. That's a whole other thing. The Green Monster for offensive line.
That's a good pick.
Big guy. That's like one
Bonus
of
points for green in the
that's
name.
one of those like 6'9", 350-pound guys. We got the Hulk as running back. That's
Also
a great pick.
That's a good pick. Yeah.
Kermit the Frog as my quarterback. Real glue guy. Might have maybe could have put him in at coach. But we'll put in Kermit the Frog as the QB.
Can we get some AI videos of like some plays occurring?
I've got Grass as the wide receiver for obvious reasons, and then a Christmas tree as the head coach.
Grass catches everything.
That's right. At the end of the day, ashes to ashes, grasses to grasses, dust to dust.
Okay, Alex. I like this game way better than the daddies.
I'm glad you enjoyed playing along, Freed. Freed, that's the game here on What We're Thinking. It's now time for the third and final segment of Booch Ball, which is, of course, Who We're Picking.
Who we're picking.
Before we make our final picks here, though, Freed, would you like a quick little jaunt over into the Kombucha Canes? Anything left unsaid on either the Kombucha or the Canes here?
Yeah, I want to talk about the kombucha, but let's hit the kombucha cans for a second. So you were talking earlier about which team are we going to lose to, and I just wanted to throw something out there. You got to remember 5 more conference games. Let's say Miami has an 80 to 90% chance of winning each of those games independently, but by the power of math, combined, the odds of losing starts to get kind of into the favor of we're probably going to lose a game. So who's it going to be to? Don't know. But have no fear. This is not like years past. I know we say this every year, but this time is different.
Well, I can still see us lose. Like, I can see us losing to SMU. I really don't. I think we're going to, well, we'll get to this later. I feel pretty good about us against Louisville. I mean, Stanford, whatever. Syracuse. NC State could be a tricky one. It's at Pittsburgh. That's what scares me.
Pitt's been looking good. That could be a scary game.
Yeah, they just took down Florida State, which, that remains to be seen. I do think it's interesting, like the hangover after you do lose like a big emotional game. Like, I think there are some like not every team is like a Ohio State or like a Georgia, Alabama, where they just then
Indiana juggernaut
pull off a string. But I mean, like after a big loss, will then just win the rest of their games. Like, oops. So yeah, so it still remains to be seen if Florida State will like put together some semblance of a great season. But I mean, hey, so far so good, Freed. So let's let the good times roll. It's been a great year. We've had 2 back-to-back seasons where Mario Cristobal has delivered on what he's promised. So hats off to him.
Well, this is year 4, and year 1, you lose big. Year 2, you lose close. Year 3, you win close. Year 4, it's time to win big. And
so that's what we've got. That's what the rest of our season has for us. We had our tough schedule up front. If
like they said,
we're the team that they want us
episode,
to believe, like if this is the team they claim they are, then they should be able to turn on the Jets at the end of the season and take care of TCB.
Yeah. So Alex, like they said in that one episode of Rick and Morty where the alien heads come from another planet and have a singing competition, show me what you got.
True that. What's this Marine Green showing you?
I was just going to ask what position the Marine Greens would play if we drafted them. I'm thinking like maybe a nickel corner.
I like that. It's definitely more of a defensive player with its with the health benefits.
They're not flashy like money with their chains hanging out.
Yeah. No, I think I like that. I think I like that pick here, Freed. All right. Speaking of picks, let's go into who we're picking here, Freed. What is the slate that you've got lined up for us today?
Yeah, we got a wide spread, a few different conferences represented. Ole Miss at Georgia. Georgia favored by 7.5. USC West at Notre Dame. That's a fun rivalry game, honestly. Notre Dame favored by 9.5. And then we got the Holy War of Utah. Utah 3.5-point favorites on the road against the BYU Mormon Cougars. And of course, our sediment pick, Sunbelt supremacy on the line. Old Dominion travels to James Madison. The Dukies are favored by 1.5.
All right, Freed.
You making some last second adjustments or picks there?
I'm making all of my picks here. All right, I think I'm ready to go.
I see the wheels turning. All right, first one, Ole Miss at Georgia. Who you picking?
Ole Miss at Georgia here, Freed. 7.5. That's disrespectful to what Lane and his program they're building down there. Give me Ole Miss to cover this one and keep this thing interesting.
Choo choo, baby! All aboard the Lane train. Ole Miss controls their own destiny. They're undefeated. It's top 5 team right now, and yeah, 7.5 points. That's Georgia is not that
inaccurate.
Good. Georgia is not that good. Come on.
Yeah, I guess it's at Georgia. All right, so we're both in agreement. Moving on, USC at Notre Dame. Notre Dame favored by 9.5. Who you got?
I feel similar about this game. USC just put the beat down on Michigan. 9.5 points, way too many. I don't know if USC pulls out the outright victory, but 1-score game. Come on, USC.
Yeah, with those points, give that to me too, baby. V for victory or whatever they say over there on the West Coast. We're putting aside my beef with them, with my ex-girlfriend breaking up with me and then dating one of her friends from freshman year.
Respect.
Let bygones be bygones. Go
Very
USC.
Strong. Very strong
Go
of you,
Trojans.
Brother. Okay. Holy War time. Utah, 3.5-point road favorites against BYU. Who you picking here?
You don't just go into Utah, Freed. Especially where the Mormons are. You got to be real careful. Strolling into Utah. The Holy War, all bets are off when it's the Holy War. So give me the team that's at home and is getting some points. Give me BYU.
Okay, here's where we differ. See, what you did not consider is that Utah doesn't have to just go into Utah, and they're not in a strange, unfamiliar place. The Utah people are already in Utah. They already are familiar with Mormon land. Half of them are Mormons. I mean, at BYU, it's 99% Mormons, but at Utah, it's like 50%. They know how to soak in the hot tub. They know what they're doing out there. Utah, it's the best team in the conference, not named Texas Tech. Speaking of which, can we talk about Texas Tech a little bit? They are really good. I didn't want to believe the hype because I am somewhat of a Texas Tech, fan and homer, but
right.
Texas Tech's legitimately one of the 4 best teams in the country, and honestly is a scary out in the playoffs. But I digress. Texas Tech went into Utah and kicked that ass. I don't see Utah losing another game this season. Utah.
Interesting. But isn't BYU's ranked higher than Utah? But you don't believe in that.
I don't believe.
Okay, that was the one game they lost was to Texas Tech. Okay, got it. So you're saying Texas Tech is for real?
Yeah.
Texas Tech still, whether they ranked. Oh, damn, they're ranked number 7, dude. That's crazy. I gotta start paying attention.
Actually, insulting. I tweeted this out. I was shocked Texas Tech didn't get any number 1 votes.
They've been blowing everybody out this year, haven't they?
They are dominant. They are doing what Miami's doing in the first 3 quarters, but they're keeping the foot on the gas in the 4th.
Yeah, no kidding. Interesting. All right, love that for you, Freed.
All right, you got a sediment pick for us?
Yeah, we've got Old Dominion going into James Madison, and what can I say, Freed? I just love the Dukes. Give me James Madison. That's my one call to cover. James Madison 1.5 points at home. Give me JMU.
Fun fact of the day: the Sun Belt is the last remaining conference with divisions. Remember a few years ago?
Like within it.
The only conference that didn't used to have divisions was the Big 12. Now everybody's got no divisions, but the Sun Belt's hanging on. Old Dominion and James Madison are by far the 2 best teams on their half of the bracket. So this game is really for who gets to go to the Sun Belt Championship. And Old Dominion got blown out by Marshall last week, 1 week after a lot of people had them as a dark horse playoff team to kind of fill that G5 spot. I don't know if you've been following Twitter, Alex, but I've been riding the Dukes as my dark horse playoff team all season long. They barely lost a game to Louisville early in the year. That's their one loss. And I see a bunch of teams in the American finishing the year with 2 losses. And if James Madison runs the table, they could eke their way in. And that starts this weekend when they wake up a little bit and smell the roses against the Old Dominion Monarchs. James Madison will cover. Please. Make me look good.
Sounds good, Freed. All right, we're pretty much in agreement about everything except for the BYU game, it seems.
So we got one more game to pick. Yeah, the BYU game is going to decide it all. So no really need for a tiebreaker, but they could push if Utah wins by exactly 3.5 points. So
You're so much louder when you speak into the mic like that, by the way. Like insanely much clearer.
Really?
Yeah. Do that again. He's lowering his electronic chair.
Actually, it's my standing desk. How's that? Do I sound good?
Yeah, it sounds much better. You
James
understand the concept of speaking into a microphone, right?
I guess I just assumed it kind of picked the whole thing up. James, am I like too loud now, or is this nice? Let us know.
No, you sound perfect.
Oh, okay. Well, what were we talking about?
Can you lower your camera manually, or is that fixed?
Well, it's all attached to the desk, so.
Yeah, I have a camera that's attached to my laptop, but I can angle it down.
You're asking a lot of stuff.
Oh yeah, that's real good.
No, that was a little bit of fool's gold.
Okay, we'll do some of that in post then.
Listen.
Yeah, we've got Louisville at Miami. Miami favored by 13.5. Louisville, the kind of team where it feels like, they're 4-1. The only team they lost to was Virginia, who technically is ranked and having a kind of a big season, and lost, just by a field goal a week and a half ago. So Miami they have to come to town against number 2 Miami. There's a part of me that thinks that this might be yet another close game. I think Louisville is a team that can beat Miami. Like that could be one of those teams that'll do it. I don't think that they will. I think that they're going to barely cover the spread, though. Give me the Canes to win 33-20.
Mm-hmm. This is kind of the opposite of a trap game. Miami's got Stanford the following week. We're not looking ahead to Stanford. That's a very bad football team. The stats actually like Louisville. I was talking earlier about how the stats don't like Miami as much as the eye test likes Miami. A lot of the stats have this being a close game, kind of a 1-score-ish game. I think Miami ultimately is too much for Louisville. I will point out that Louisville's running back, Isaac Brown, is a Miami kid that we did not recruit, and he's pretty good. So look for him.
They've also got Miller Moss as their quarterback, the former USC guy who remember he played that game against
the bowl game a couple years
last year too. Oh yeah, he did. Where he threw like 7 touchdowns or something.
Yeah, when he was filling in for fingernail paint
for Caleb. Yeah, he's playing tonight.
So ultimately, I have Miami. Oh shit, I did it again, Alex. I did it again. You remember when I wrote down my Florida score and I put Florida winning on accident?
Oh, you did it again.
I did it again. I wrote down Louisville 27, Miami 17. That's what I wrote down.
I don't know what to tell you, Freed. You could have just lied, but you didn't. So
I'm a man of honor.
As I always say, if it's not a big deal, just lie.
Dude, I can't risk losing my professional geologist license over something as trivial.
All right, very fine. So Freed says you got to get better at that, Freed. That's never happened to you before. Thank you, Jake, for letting us know that Beans. Yeah, Jake's been on a real kick where he's been making like AI slop videos, but every video ends with like him spilling hot chili all over himself. Like, so I do watch them when he sends it to me. I can't say that it's I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. I don't know.
Maybe forward me a few of those things.
All right, well, we are here at the end of Booch Ball. It is time for us to give our score to the Marine Greens and to to tell our folks what it is. So obviously we're doing the scale of 10 to 1, 10 being the best thing ever, 0 being, well, we go to 0 technically. 0, the worst thing ever tasted. Freed, do you have your ranking on this, or would you like me to go and throw
I
something
have
out?
my ranking, but before I do that, I just want to give a shout out to my softball team, the L7 Weenies. We're currently 1-3, but we're looking to go on a playoff run. Oh, Jazzo, I forgot to tell you, I did my MRI today. I will get the results tomorrow. So sorry for the teaser on that one, buddy. But yeah, we got softball after this. Torn ACL or not, I'm 7 for 8 on the season, DHing. Huber National rakes.
Hell yeah.
Anyway, kombucha, let's go 7 flat on this guy because it's not the tastiest, but like I said, I just really enjoy what I feel like it brings to the table. So
Mhm.
this is a 7, a strong would recommend, right? Is that the 7?
That's not a strong would recommend. That's right at the. That's a
Right on
light
the
would
recommend.
recommend.
That's hit it right in the would recommend. I would recommend this. You should try it. And my college football team, Oregon State. I know they're not good this year, but back to the homeland of Lake Klamath, the Beavers just love algae, and every once in a while they get a good season, but this year is just kind of tough. So maybe it's a bad analogy from a performance
Bad
standpoint.
analogy.
That's a good analogy right there.
Freed, I'm going to give the Marine Greens a 5.5, which you've got to like. 5.5. I would drink it. This is below a would buy it for me. I understand that this is definitely an increase from, I think I previously gave it a 4, which was a meh. So I think you've convinced me to bump up my score and be a little bit more favorable due to the health benefits of it, but still well below my average threshold for Booch that I enjoy. 5.5, which makes this Booch the Marshall Thundering Herd.
The Mean Green?
Mm-hmm.
Oh wait, oh, that's North Texas. Oh, that's a good
Yeah,
one.
you're right. That would be a good one too. North Texas, the Mean Green. You want to change yours from Oregon State?
You ever just sit around with the boys and name colleges with green green in their names?
Yeah,
Tulane,
every week, Freed. Every
Green
week on
Wave.
Booch Ball. Boochies, thank you for joining us. We love you. We got Miami taking on Louisville this weekend. We'll check back in with you next week. Shout out to Lauren for she wasn't available for this show, but we'll have her back on, and hopefully we'll have another guest coming up very soon, right, Freed?
Hopefully,
Hopefully. We love you, Boochies, and as always,
stay cultured. Peace.
Booch. We playing Booch ball. Booch. We playing Booch ball.
Shout out to the pair.